Human beings have evolved highly effective alarms for physical danger, but we possess absolutely zero biological defense mechanisms to warn us when our subconscious mind is being actively manipulated. Because this process bypasses your critical thinking, it is entirely possible to be under someone else's psychological control right now, without even realizing it is happening. The vocabulary for this specific type of control comes from a 1944 film called Gaslight. In it, a husband subtly dims the glow of the gas lamps in their home, and when his wife points it out, he insists the light hasn't changed at all, slowly convincing her she is losing her mind. That is the core mechanism of gaslighting. It is the deliberate, systematic sabotage of another person's perception of reality, functioning entirely differently from an ordinary lie told to avoid trouble. This influence is insidious because the victim continues to believe they are making conscious, independent choices, even while their mind is in the middle of a systemic emotional hijack. This hijacking is never an accident. It is a highly structured three-step formula designed to trap the human mind. The first phase is denial. A manipulator cannot simply call you crazy on day one. They have to prepare the cognitive soil to accept that idea. They achieve this through absolute certainty. When confronted about something they did or said, they respond with unwavering denial, looking you directly in the eye and claiming the event never happened. Hearing someone deny a shared reality with total confidence introduces a glitch in your brain. You start to question your own cognitive reliability. This is the exact same mechanism used in high-stakes intelligence interrogations. By modifying a subject's context and repeatedly denying their version of events, interrogators can successfully implant false memories into a suspect's mind. The moment you wonder if you might have misremembered how a conversation went, the manipulator has breached your psychological defenses. Once that seed of doubt sprouts, the cycle moves into stage 2, blaming. The manipulator shifts the focus entirely away from their actions and directly onto your perceived flaws. They use a technique called the emotional mirror. Instead of defending what they did, they instantly trigger your insecurities, suggesting that your reaction is the real problem. This exploits a major biological vulnerability. The human brain makes decisions based primarily on emotion rather than logic. When sudden states of fear and guilt are introduced, they overwhelm the brain's processing centers, entirely bypassing rational thought and objective analysis. When the manipulator frames your confusion as an attack on them, the burden of proof shifts. You stop defending the truth and start defending your character until you find yourself apologizing for the very confrontation they provoked. The abuser's final move is stage 3, isolation, where they sever the victim's ties to the outside world. They slowly convince the victim that their friends and family are either actively rooting against them or are simply incapable of understanding their unique relationship. The mechanical purpose behind this tactic is to systematically remove all external reality checks from the victim's environment. Without independent viewpoints to validate what actually happened, the abuser's word becomes the only accessible source of truth, leaving the victim's mind fully hijacked and locked inside a false reality. The psychological damage caused by this prolonged cycle is severe. Victims often experience a state of chronic exhaustion and lose the ability to make basic, everyday decisions. The abuse forces a part of the brain called the default mode network into overdrive, trapping the victim in a relentless loop of negative self-talk. So how do you escape a trap when your own internal reasoning has been co-opted to keep you inside? The philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche observed that to see the truth of a person, you have to look past the mask they wear. He realized that a person's behavioral patterns are actually a confession. To break the loop, you have to stop listening to the manipulator's words and start strictly observing their patterns. Look for the constant repetitive cycles of denial, exaggeration, and shifting blame. These aggressive tactics do not indicate a strong person. They reveal an insecure, fragile ego, desperately trying to maintain control over someone else. Awareness provides the necessary clarity to dismantle these patterns. By recognizing the specific playbook of denial, blame, and isolation, you can learn to trust your own memory again, step out of the isolation, and take your mind back.